We can go to the side view, zoom in, and we can start matching the profile. So now I only need to move the middle edge. I'm not going to move everything upwards because the side is up to this point. Only the top edge is raised. I mean the middle edge. So I can make it prominent. Select loop propagation, point loop propagation. Select the middle point. And the propagation that is highlighted, as you can see, should be this loop. Then go to attraction. I'm going to give the points, not the edge, the points a boost up. We're going to bring them down later on so that they are more prominent, like I can be able to see them. So you know that the points that you're moving are these ones. I can start with the second one. Now we need this point. So just select it. Undo the loop propagation. Select it. We need to match the top profile. So in this case, I'm just picking on a single point. Just one by one. Adjusting them to match the side profile. We're gonna have to redo it once we remove the weight, because right now all the points, they are weighted. Don't adjust the 2 second points. We want this part to be relatively flat. So because of the weight, you can see we have a bit of sharp corners. And then for the front part, this point, it goes down. As well as the second part. It goes down. We've got the basic curvature, but because they are weighted, again, it might not be accurate. So we're gonna go back to loop propagation. Select that loop. It's all selected, as you can see, including the bottom parts. Go to attraction and take them back to 0. So you can see the weight kind of went down, but now it's easier to pick on them because they are already separated. Like I can see this point. Remove the loop propagation, go to translation. I can select my point here And as you can see, it's just a single point selected. So go back to the side view. And once again, just make the adjustments. We might need another edge here, but for now, let's just leave it as it is. We're gonna get to that. I might just speed up this process. Now click on apply once you've got the shape laid out. And you can see what you've done there. We've raised the middle part. Obviously, we're gonna have to adjust how the volume comes in, because we don't just want a sharp edge raising up. But we get to that. We get to that in a few. For now, that's what we have. Now for this point at the end here, obviously they're going to be lower than where this point is even ace. So it's not raising up, it's going down. But I'm not going to adjust that now. I'll do that when I'm finishing up. Select OK and exit. You can go back to 100% to see the shape. So you can see what I'm saying. It's quite sharp at this point, and these 2 points are going to be lower. So we're going to lower all of them lower than this point, so that we can have this being up and these ones being down. But for now, let's first do some face subdivisions. Go back to 50%. Go to the top view. So as you can see, I'm going to go to painting tool, properties, and reduce the transparency a little bit. Let me try 83 so that it's more visible. Yeah, select OK. So we've got this part that is curving here, and we're going to achieve that by adding some face subdivision. To make sure you're selecting the top part, this is the top face. If you accidentally select the bottom face instead, it's not going to work. So select on Control and add to the faces. Make sure you're selecting the top one. For example, that's the bottom one. You can just manipulate a little bit. Make sure you're selecting the top one. And then just go to the top view and check. Don't know if I'm going to select this face or leave it at this one. Let me see. I might just leave it at that one, and then do the other side as well. I'm holding Ctrl key when I'm adding so that they all merge to one subdivision surface. All right, so that's good. You can apply and exit. And we can shape this to match. So double click. I don't know, I might just change this to green. Yeah, so I can see better. So now you're selecting these points. Make sure you're on translation mode and then just adjust. Then for these 2 points, we're going to use affinity so that we are moving them evenly. So it's this point and this point. So right now we're going to focus on just the lateral adjustment for now. So this point and this point. So the ones that is dotted is the one that is on the other side. I'm using this side as the guide. Okay, so I've tried to match them as best as I can. At this point, we're gonna need to add another edge here so that we can move this close. Since the surface will be cut at this point, we need it closer. And we can also select this point and go to affinity and move them a bit inwards. Say at that point, apply and exit. Select face cutting. And then I'm going to select cut on click. Like where I'm going to click, that's where the face should be cut. So that it's about this point. Then exit. Then double click. And we're only going to select this external point. Again, affinity. and just move them inwards so that the outer edge where we're going to cut our face for the main body is not going to affect this one. In fact, I might just move them a bit closer. Yep, like that. Select OK. Now we can go to the side view and adjust this curve. We need it to move up so that the volume is not peaky. This curve is not peaky. So once again, I'm going to be shift selecting on both sides and go to translation and just mimic the curve. Don't worry about the upper one. We're going to readjust. Just mimic the curvature. Okay, that's good. We can now readjust this top part. Make sure you're completely in the side profile. So select this point, bring it down. In this case, I can select both the points. All right. These are 2 points, so make sure you shift select. Just bring that down a notch. Okay, so far so good. Apply. Now we can come to this front part and select these points. So select these points and just bring them down. Okay, let's redo that again. Undo. So I will select those points as well as the consecutive points here. Just making sure I'm not selecting, making sure I'm not selecting this one. Okay, so go to the side profile. I can select everything, then come back here and deselect this point. Like so. Go back to the side view. Translation. And just move them down. Select the point, move it back to where it's supposed to be. Then once again, we've got the second one here. So select everything, zoom in, deselect this point, and just move that one down. Readjust this one. Same with this one. We might need to reduce the curvature here. So now, as you can see, we've got that nice curve, like so. So far, so good. Let's go to the top view. Make sure everything is still aligning. Yeah, that looks good. So what I'm going to do is once again select loop propagation, select points, and select these center ones. And I'm going to align them with this ZX plane to make sure it's at the middle. So if I split this, I can have symmetrical object. So I'm going to select alignment, select on plane, and then you're going to select this plane. I don't know why it's already selected. So it's the ZX plane. And then align. Just to be sure. So we've got this basic shape going. This is what it looks like so far. Don't worry, we haven't applied any weights to the edges right now. So we just need to have the basic shape set up. I need this to go down a little bit. This point. Or these 2 points can go up a little bit to match it so that we don't have that sharp. And these 2 points as well, these 2 points. So select this and this one, bring them up using the Z axis and go on alignment, make them a bit wider. Then check, yeah, those dimples are gone. So now we can apply weights on these 2 loop edges. Select loop, select edge, So we have that one. Go to attraction and make sure it is sharp to smooth. So negative indicates sharp. So sharp to smooth, yes. We need a smooth curvature. And then we're going to add. And once again, as I said, if it's positive, it's curvature. If it's negative, it is sharpness, okay? So this is obviously curvature. I've given it about 72. I can leave it at that for now. Then I'm going to select this loop. And we're also going to give it about 93. Let's see how that one works. Apply. When you apply the weight, it's going to shift the position. So you're gonna need to reapply that once again. So these 2 points, once again, we're gonna need to move them outwards. Like so. Then bring this point a little bit downwards. Select mesh lines and move it towards this side a little bit. Let it lean forward. Keep checking. So this is a bit tedious part where you're just checking to make sure that, you know, the basic shape is created, some edges, things like that. So that's the modeling part. You can also first check without the edges highlighted. Don't worry about this. We are going to smoothen it out. Don't worry about it. So we can select these edges, this one and this one, and we're going to remove the weight. And instead, select these two and add the weight so that it's coming up along that path. Then we have this edge and this edge, and we're going to reduce the weight. so that the corner is not very sharp. In fact, I'm going to also reduce on this one and this one. We have this 4, can also be lower. So anytime you make an adjustment, you can just check how it's affecting the other parts. Let's try to have these 4 edges completely unweighted. Go to points, this point, and this point needs to be a bit lower. This one, select mesh line. We are pulling it down. I feel like this curvature needs some improvement. So that means bringing these ones down. This one's higher. All right, so you can see how it's taking shape and how you use these points to modify exactly how you want your shape to appear. So these 4 points, I need them to be a bit far from the latter. These 2 here. Go back to attraction. So I've removed the traction on this too and try to increase on this and this one. So I'm not happy with how the front is kind of narrowing down so much. So what I'm going to do, let's go back to viewing edges. Go back to the top view. Oh, 1 second. We need to go back to 50%. I'm going to reduce this gradient that we are decreasing here by selecting this to affinity, bring it closer. As well as this. In fact, I'm going to go with the whole batch. And as you can see, that has solved the depression that we had there. Okay. I think so far so good now. So this part, it all depends on you and your preference, how you want your product to look like. So you can play around with the settings and just see what looks best. We can now add some weight here. Yep, like that. Some more on this one and this one. So the weight reduces as we approach the other section. We don't need to add any weight on this sector because it all depends on where we are going to cut it. So there's no point in that. Now what I would suggest is adding an extra face cut here so that this gradient here can be a bit more sudden than gradual as it is right now, because I need more flat surface. So I can select face cutting, cut on click, cut it right there, and select this point, translation points, select that point, go to the side view, and bring it down. So it's going to tone that slope. Okay. So far so good. We might just be done with the bases for the main frame. So the other things that we are going to be creating from now are the surfaces that we are going to use to cut this one. Cut it up to the shape that we want. So I'm happy with this one. You can play around with yours until you're happy with it, with how it turns out. I want this to be more linear. So I'm going to reduce the curve like that, the inner one. Yes, like that. And if I go to shading with materials, so that's what you have. Okay. So if you're done up to that point, now you've done much of the major work that we needed to do. So now we can go to the other subdivision surfaces for cutting this one. So we're going to make it once again 50%. Remember to save your work. So this is the part that is linked to the product. So once again, it's Renault lesson 1. But this time it's a part. Good.